My name's Ryan, and I built this tiny home. We call it the Prowler.
This video is sponsored by Dylan Magaster. Check out our new channel by clicking the link and be sure to subscribe.
It was my grandparents' 72 camper trailer. It's up in Montana, not being used in my brother's house. It's like, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna save the cushions. I got the stove, I got the sink, I got all this material my brother set me up with, you know, lots of wood and foam that we insulated the frame and stuff. The Prowler actually was named after a camper trailer. It was cheap, most of it was recycled. A lot of the pallet wood, so then I stripped all the nails, so I didn't have to buy nails. It cost probably, I would say, 8 grand. Mostly appliances, compost toilet, and the lumber, the siding. All 3 of those windows were 15 bucks a piece at the Restore. That's how I got it cheap. And then I like to think it's very open inside. Not a lot of big cupboard space, you know, it's like everything's kind of like 6 inches off the wall. So I wanted to make it as big and tall and kind of open feeling as I could. So, welcome to the tiny home. It's the original Prowler trailer, which I wanted to use. Axles obviously are way too weak, because I think they're rated for like 3,500 pounds. We haven't weighed it yet. If we were gonna move it, we were just gonna raise it, cut them off, weld some new ones on, drive it off. For the time being, we're like, block it up. Height is 13 in the front, 8 foot wide. And I kind of made sure that all the specs were right so that when we did move it, it was gonna be like below the requirement and like everything was good to go. These were the first thing that I took from the camper. This was like the sun awning off the front of it. And so I took that off. I wanted to keep it original and, you know, keep the roots there. All the windows I got, the doors from the Restore. I went with the double doors just for the light, to keep it more open. I wanted the glass so you can really see it. It acts as like a giant window. The windows help in winter because all the natural light actually heats up pretty well. Pallet deck, you don't need more than that because you got to shovel it in the winter. This is just kind of like a mud grate. You know, I can't remember what we used it for. I used it as a step before I put the pallet deck, you know. It has the original step from the Prowler still, so if I do take up and go off, it can still get in. It's just like the back end of like the tiny home. A couple propane bottles. Don't really use too much because I don't have propane heat. These were actually the original bottles from the Prowler. So I just keep filling them. This is where the electrical comes in, and then this is where the water comes in. And then in the winter, I have 46 gallons that I just fill and use my pump. Same thing with the air conditioner. In the summer, I use it, and then in the winter, just take it out, put the glass back in. Just a little spot for like tools and paints and golf balls, soccer balls, stuff like that. And this actually, I didn't even have to build. I built the doors, but this was like a shelf that was in the garage. And we weren't using. I already had the slope, threw some tin on it, left over. Tin roof, snow and stuff like that, and it's gonna melt, it's gonna fall off. That's kind of the outside. Hey guys, welcome to the Prowler. Blood, sweat, and tears, took a lot. All hand banged, no nail guns. So all screwed, cut, kind of learned as I went. And that's why I wanted to do it, because then I would have more of a respect for it. Now I know where all the electrical is. Things go wrong, I can fix it because I knew how to put it together. The first thing that I like to talk about is like everyone that comes in, I ask them if they want to sign it, you know, any words of encouragement, phrases, stuff like that, write your name. I actually bought this before I built the tiny home. I was driving by, I was like, ooh, that's a tiny rocking chair. I think I need a tiny rocking chair for a tiny home. I used to snowboard for DC, so I like that one up there. That was actually one of their first runs of boards that I got to actually, you know, ride and test out. She's got some battle wounds, got some scars. I actually painted the other side. So, you know, little Jerry Garcia on the bottom. This is a one-of-a-kind game. We call it pig ball. And what you do is you take this ping pong ball and you try and make it in that little wood kind of teardrop, I like to call it, in the least amount of tries. Just built that, threw the light in, just get stuff off the ground. When you can't go out, you gotta go up. They're easy to get to, you know, all I gotta do is step up here and it's like boom, boom, boom. That one, you know, maybe I have to get a ladder. Futon, these were from the Prowler. So I use those like when I take a nap or have company over, you can kind of just throw that down, lay down, another bed. Or you can remove them and the couch folds up. Wanted to keep it open, big, wide. It's kind of nice. All the art, I did all the art, painted it. Live plant, not one of these was past this. and it's kind of just grown and grown and grown, and it's cool because you can take the clippings and like put it into jars with water and then give them to friends, you know. This is my space heater. It's tiny, so at night is the only time it really kicks on, and it's so small and like really well insulated that I mean, I've had it for what, 4 years, and it's plenty. These drawers were from the Prowler. Everyone's got to have an everything drawer, you know. Got a flask, business cards, coasters, plates, 4 bowls. You need bowls. I got a couple mugs back there, and then you got the bar, which I never really drink. Fridge, AC, which kind of has like bare essentials. Right now I'm baking out of, so cream cheese. Everything's got to be tiny. This was actually from the jungle gym, so it like kind of broke off. I was like, well, that's a paper towel holder. You didn't need to buy anything. This I got in Peru, which was fun. I went 5 weeks down there. Went visited a buddy who I actually worked with at the bakery in Park City. He was from Peru, and he was like, come down, visit. And so went down there, got to go to Machu Picchu. Yeah, the sink was from the Prowler. I reused that. Same with the stove. Gas stove, 4 burner. Yeah, I bake out of it quite often. Same concept, you know, it got the kind of slant. They're just easy because they don't protrude. They're like out of the way, and then you don't need to put that much stuff. Got a little honey, stir sticks, pots and pans up and out of the way. This was just some tin we found, so I kind of just wrapped it for your oils. This stainless steel my dad had and didn't know what we were going to use it for, and so we're like, oh, I was building a tiny home. I was like, that's going to be a perfect countertop. So the door was from the Restore, you know, closet pocket door kind of style. So the shelves I put in, I was like, well, just put a couple slabs in there, and there's my shelves. This was from the camper, just one of the doors, and I just saved the mirror. You know, put the little, you know, simple light. My brother gave me, I think, half of it, if not all of the cedar. A whiskey barrel shower, glued it with wood glue, and then like put this kind of rubber spray paint inside, and then a little mat on the bottom. A little tube, just for like not catching your knees. Step in, kind of just pull this guy around. Then you just gotta, I like to double lap it. Boom. Nature Head's toilet, which is really sweet, works really well. One of the fans kind of faltered, and they sent one right away, which was cool. Sun hats, you know, never have too many sun hats. Got the guitar, just kind of picked up recently. My old roommate Max, he was a guitar master. Living with him, he was the one that kind of inspired me to pick it up. Music is definitely really important, which is why I kept all of the vinyl. The recycled palette that I used, and I used it on the ceiling, around the windows. Wanted to keep it simple, but textured, so that's why I went with the palette. It was cheap, and I like the kind of different color textures and knots and stuff like that. I actually used these, just cut them. These were already original, and I just cut them and built them into the steps. Plenty big, and I did it kind of not too short, but I knew I wasn't gonna be up here sitting too often, you know? So it was like, I kind of wanted to keep it short and make the bottom, you get a little more headroom. Got another little mood light, so when it's dark and you don't want this bright one on, gives it a nice little mood. Got all my clothes and sweats and stuff in my uncle's chest. He actually went to West Point, and that was his chest, so it kind of fits nicely. Sometimes if you want, like, just grab a pillow and like you can just sit right here, and you got all the windows. Just another little spot to chill out. It's paid for, so no bills, easier to clean, so you don't spend time doing that. And then I think the big one is when you go out into the stores and you go shopping, you realize you don't have space for this stuff. So it's like, yeah, this pot looks nice and this rug is cool, but like I have a rug and I have a pot and I have a glass, you know, like I don't need new things. My advice is just change your lifestyle, not your income. One thing that I think I've been doing very well is instead of trying to make more money, I'm learning to live with less, and therefore I feel like I'm gaining more. You can get by with not as much as you think. You know, you can actually live a pretty nice lifestyle without the burden of having storage or stuff that you haven't seen for a year. If I haven't used it in a year, why do I still have it? Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get ahead of your own energy. Just kind of go with the flow of like what you need versus what you want. If you can separate those two things, it kind of makes life just kind of fall into place.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. And I wanted to let you know, if you haven't heard, that we started a second channel. So if you're interested in seeing more of what we've made, things along the lines of adventure, travel, philosophy, click the link in the description below or click this link right here with my face on it and check out our new channel, Dylan Magaster. And if you enjoy it, consider subscribing. So, big love. Have a great week.